Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at one of those deck boxes that I randomly stumbled across on everybody's favorite place to buy things online, and figured why not? Why not give it a shot? Of course, it is a deck box. It's supposed to protect your cards. It has a pretty unique design, and it even states that it is waterproof. I will test that theory, but I'm also going to look into a couple other things, so let's get into it. This is the Aegis Guardian deck box. It fits 100 double-sleeved cards, has a nice little compartment down here for your tokens and things like that. Now, what really sets this apart from other deck boxes? First off, the design. It has this double flap design here, where you have your compartment down here and your top here. Now, I know there are plenty of other similar style boxes where it's, one big flap, or two to three separate flaps to get your stuff out. But this one has the two flap design, and you can see here it does this, which is kind of nice. Honestly, the reason behind this is so you can grab your deck, because there are these nice indentations here on both sides to kind of do that. Now, without looking at the deck, or without getting into the deck or digging it out, this is just a nice felt texture that you have on your Gamegenic products. A lot of Ultimate Guard products, they all pretty much just use this same, like I said felt, but this like suede sort of lined texture. It's kind of nice. They have the logo here, and you got the magnets on the back where it snaps, flips over, magnets on the front, and then you have your compartment here, which is a little bit larger for your dice and things like that. Now, the biggest complaint so far that I have about this deck box is the tokens. The token box is a little small overall. Like, I can't fit my life counter in here very easily. I actually can't fit it in here if I wanted to do... Oh, I just noticed my life counter broke. Interesting. Alright. I might have to glue that. Interesting. Okay. Well, I can't fit my life counter in here like this when it is put together, because it is too big. You can kind of see that there. And then the amount of dice, if I take this out, I can put a pretty decent chunk of dice in here if I wanted to. But I usually, if I am using a life counter, it is going to be for Grand Archive, or those people that play Commander, they might use these life counters as well. And one of them, potentially two of them, can fit in here nice and snug. Kind of have to make it angle it a little bit, and it goes in there. It fits nicely, which is great. Now, this is a pretty decent sized deck box for fitting 100 cards and having a dice compartment down here. One thing I do want to note is the compartment for your cards. This is 100 double sleeved cards. I'm using Gamegenic matte prime sleeves, and then I'm using Dragon Shield inner sleeves. So this is 100. There's not much room in here for extra. Potentially 103 if you really want to get super snug with it. But honestly, like if you have tokens or things like that for your Commander deck, you're not going to be able to put that in here with 100 double sleeved cards. I would also like to note that I use the Gamegenic Snap, the slide snap cases. That when you try and put that in here with 100 double sleeved cards, it is a very, very, very snug fit. It's a snug enough fit that I'm not comfortable pushing this down, because I don't want to, potentially bend or ruin any of the cards. So, Gamegenic Snap don't fit in here with 100 double sleeved cards. Now, it does fit by itself. So that's something to keep in mind. Like, it does fit if I just wanted to put it in here for you as an example. It fits great. There's no problem with this fitting, but you can't do this in 100 double sleeved cards. Next thing is I know people sometimes put their commanders in a top loader, which is totally fine. You want to keep your commander safe. Top loaders don't fit, actually, in this box, which is honestly a bummer because I know there are a lot of cool deck boxes out there that use like a top loader. They put it on the front here, things like that. So if you keep your commander in a top loader, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna fit in this deck box. You can't even, if you did it sideways like this, you can't even close the box. So that's kind of a downside for you commander players out there and you utilizing top loaders. Now if you have a really, really expensive commander, obviously you're gonna keep it in a snap case. And if you, you can keep it in a snap case and you can put it in here. And you could probably, if you weren't doing 100 double sleeve cards, you know, maybe you have a bunch of proxies and, you know, you're only single sleeving those, no big deal. I would probably say that you can put your snap case commander in here and then you could easily fit your 100 single sleeved cards, potentially with some room for tokens, into this deck box. Now, because I don't play commander, I have to kind of put 3 decks together, 2.5 decks together to fit into these types of boxes. But this is, you know, 100 double sleeved cards, no tokens, anything like that. And it's a pretty snug fit getting into this box. Now, obviously, you're just going to kind of put it on its side here. And this is just kind of really awkward. Just kind of let them fall in there. After a while, it does get a little snug once you start getting into like the higher 90s to get these in there. There we go. And if we kind of tap it on the side, you can see that there is a decent amount of space here for bigger sleeves such as your dragon shields or things like that that have a little bit more on the top to fit. So those are going to fit nicely if you're using dragon shields, or potentially if you were using a like a standard sleeve with an oversleeve. Oversleeves would fit in here as well, and I can show you as an example of some oversleeves. Now here is my my Licorice Recoil Y Schwartz deck. It is 50 cards with a, you know, a waifu sleeve, and then we have our standard oversleeve, and it will fit in this so nicely. Let's snug that down a little bit. It fits in there great, right? And this is 50 cards with oversleeves. Let's get out another 50. So this is another 50 cards, and we're just going to kind of squish that down and put that in here. No, are you not going to fit 50? We cannot fit 100. Okay, wow. Live proof here that if you were using standard sleeves with oversleeves, you cannot fit 100 cards. So while it does fit oversleeves, which is really nice, you can't put 100 cards in here. So for commanders, you know, that are potentially using a standard sleeve and an oversleeve, you're not going to be able to fit your whole commander deck in here, which is kind of a bummer because that is the whole point. So, you know, you might have to use, you know, Game Genics or Dragon Shields and double sleeve them that way. We're single sleeve. You know, I'm not judging if you single sleeve your cards. So that's kind of a bummer that that doesn't fit. Honestly, thought it was going to. So good to know. Now, the one thing I would like to look at is the strength of the magnets with these deck boxes, because you can kind of look at all deck boxes and pretty much figure that they're the same. And honestly, they all pretty much are, because they're just there to protect your cards. But what is the difference between, you know, the $20 deck box, the $15 deck box, things like that? Obviously, build quality and things of that nature come to mind. The materials used, the company. You know, obviously, if you're paying for Game Genic, you are paying for a good brand. But what about the magnets? So what type of magnets does Aegis Guardian use? Well, if we use this little magnet guy here, we can see that on the chart that I will kind of put on the screen here, you can see that this is a green and more sort of a dark blue. So the magnet strength here is actually pretty good. And again, you can reference the chart on the screen right now that the magnet strength is decent quality. And you know, it has 2 magnets up here for the top compartment, or I guess 4 magnets, 1 on each side. And then it has 4 magnets down here for the bottom compartment. Then, you know, you do have your magnets down here to attach the back. And funnily enough, I think the magnet strength down here is actually better than the magnet strength up at the top. There's more green, which means it is a weaker magnetic strength, but there is some decent blue, which is a stronger magnetic strength, which is great. Now, overall, I think this box is really good. And if I wanted to do the Professor Shake test to kind of show you, I don't know why I did that, to kind of show you, you know, if I shake this thing like crazy, is it gonna survive? First I have to get all my cards in here, because that's the annoying part. Okay, there we go, jeez. Will it survive the shake test? You know, we're gonna leave those in there. It's gonna get a little rattly and noisy, so heads up. But doesn't survive the shake test. Now, kind of a bummer, right? You don't want something to where you're shaking your cards or you're running away from Godzilla and you know you have your deck box in your bag and you take one wrong step and everything goes falling. You don't want to see that. So that's kind of a bummer that it doesn't survive a shake test. But if you think about it, in a world where monsters don't exist, like Godzilla, you're not going to be running away shaking the crap out of your deck box. You are far more likely to drop your deck box off of your table or your desk, and your cards, if they're in there, might go flying. And that's something we want to make sure doesn't happen. So we're going to do a drop test, because I think a drop test is more reliable than a shake test. So I am 5'11". I'm going to drop this from, you know, waist high, which is going to be about 3 feet, which is standard table height. And we're going to see what happens. Don't try this at home. All right, so again, we are going to do the drop test. I have my Aegis Guardian deck box here. Again, I'm dropping it from about waist high, so about 3 feet or so. And we're just going to see if it survives. All right, cool. Couple more just to make sure, right? We're just going to toss it. Lid popped open. Decks. Cards are fine. Now, what if we did like an angle drop, right? Like, oh man, I bumped it. It survived. So, while you're running away from Godzilla, and this is in your backpack, your cards are bound to fall all over the place if you do that. However, if you are just, you know, sitting at your table, sitting at your desk, and you accidentally bump them, the lid popped open, but the cards are fine. So I'm gonna say this is like a 4. We're gonna say like a 3.5 out of 5 on the drop test. All right, now one thing that Aegis Guardian said on their website is that this thing was waterproof. I don't feel very confident in that, but for the sake of science and keeping your cards safe and your money, we're gonna try it. Obviously, I'm not gonna throw this in a pool because there's no way in hell this would keep your cards safe if it dropped in like a giant body of water. But if you accidentally splash it, you know, I got some water here, and you know, we accidentally do this, a little water on there, you can see that the water is actually sticking to the material and not being soaked in to the actual box itself, which is really good. And I didn't think of a way to prevent this, actually. So I'm just gonna leave it like this. Potentially waterproof. You know, if you splash it or something like that, maybe you drop it face down in a puddle, it might keep your card safe. I'm not going to say, yeah, it's totally waterproof like their website does. You know, the material itself is waterproof to where, yeah, you know, it looks good. Water's on the plate, cards are safe. This material here, you can kind of see, did get wet. So anything at the top on the, anything around the edges is potentially going to get damaged and is not waterproof. I would like to see this material throughout the entire box to potentially feel a little bit safer, because if, you know, I dump a little bit water at the top, water is going to get in here. It's going to soak into this top area, which can then potentially get in here and then start damaging the cards. Obviously, your cards are in sideways, so it's going to be really hard to get the water in here. So yeah, it's waterproof, I guess, a little bit. 3 out of 5 on a waterproof test. I highly doubt I'm ever going to give anything a 5 out of 5 unless it's like, you know, a hard shell case. Probably a 5 out of 5, because these are gonna, I feel safer dropping this in water than I would this in water. But overall, that is the Aegis Guardian deck box. It's slightly waterproof. It's has a decent drop rating. Doesn't really survive a shake test. The magnets in it are decent enough, but again, doesn't really do much against a shake test. But it holds 100 double sleeved cards, nice and snug. It holds your tokens, just enough, I guess. As long as you're wanting to fit 100 double sleeve cards in a nice deck box that has a little compartment down here, but you're really not in the market to, you know, spend the money on the GameGenic products or the Ultimate Guard products that are a little bit bigger and a little bit more expensive, I feel that Aegis Guardian is actually a very good brand alternative to those big name brands. You know, I would feel comfortable keeping my cards in here if I was playing Commander. The only downside is, you know, you can't fit your top loader Commander, you can't fit your Snapcase Commander. You know, you do just have room for about 103, 104 double sleeved cards in here. You know, if you're single sleeving, then yeah, you can put in your Snapcase, and then you got room for your tokens, your dice down here, which is great. I'm going to give this like an overall 4 out of 5, just based on the drop test, the shake test, the build quality, and everything. I would say this is a solid product. Nothing that's revolutionary, right? But it's good enough that if you spend your money on it, you're getting exactly what you want out of your deck box, which is something to just keep your cards nice and safe, nice and secure, and easy to just throw in a backpack, throw in a bag, hopefully not running away from Godzilla, and just go into your LGS and playing some games. So if you're in the market for this, I will leave a link down to this below. The price is, you know, of course, going to fluctuate based on just the website that you're buying this from. But 4 out of 5 review, in my opinion, it's pretty good. So if you're in the market and you don't want to spend the money on a GameGenic one or an Ultimate Guard one, give Aegis Guardian a shot. I think if they keep doing this good, then I think they have a lot of growth ahead of them as a company. Now, tell me what your favorite deck box is below. I'm curious, you know, what do you use? Do you use GameGenic? Do you use Ultimate Guard? Do you use Aegis Guardian? Do you use something else that I should review? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe. Really helps me out, and it just keeps me motivated to keep making these videos for you guys. And with that, I hope you all just have a wonderful rest of your day.